playwrights and directors and actors, and everybody contributes and they create the new script. But here's the thing, at least they got the ball rolling, right? They got the first version of the script. What this idea is, creating a new script, is creating what I call your perfect day. And on the next page, you will see, we don't have time for this. This is going to be kind of your guide to take out of here today. On the next page, you will see your perfect day with 12 steps. What I challenge you to do is write out your ideal day. Now, I spoke before Legacy a couple of years ago, and I used this very same exercise. Now, I'm using the exercise again because what I find is a lot of times people don't really do it. Tony Robbins tells a great story of a minister who stood up in front of his congregation one day and gave the greatest sermon of his life. I mean, he had people in tears, laughing, and they walked out of that church and they were excited. They said, "Pastor, that's the greatest sermon you've ever given." And he said, "That's great." The next week, he stood in front of the congregation and gave the same sermon. People were looking around thinking, "Okay, it's a pretty good sermon, so I guess we can listen to it again." The next week, same sermon. Next week, same sermon. And some of the congregation got brave and they went up to him and they said, "You know, Pastor, we've noticed you've been giving the same sermon week after week after week." "Oh, I'm glad you noticed. And I'm going to keep giving it until you use it." Which is why I brought the perfect day exercise back. Because I will tell you from my experience, it works. What you do is you write out your perfect day. Write 12 things out. And it could be your perfect business day, your perfect personal day. For example, I want to get up every morning at 7 a.m. I want to exercise for 30 minutes, read for 30 minutes, write 400 words a day. Whatever it is you want to do, it's your script. The key is you've got to write it down. Now, the first time I did this exercise 2 years ago, Peg came up with a great idea, which I've incorporated ever since. Write out your perfect day, and then write out your current day. And see if there's a difference. Because where the difference is where you have to work. That's where to work. To coin an old phrase, where the rubber meets the road. Now we got to find out. I want to get up at 7 a.m., but I've only been getting up around 9. All right, we got to make a change. I want to exercise, but I haven't been. That's the gap. That's where you've got to do the work. But once you write your perfect day, that becomes your guidepost. You familiar with the reticular activating system? That's the part of the brain that gets activated when you focus on a new goal. Imagine for a moment you want to buy a brand new red Mercedes. You start to fixate on it. You start looking at magazines. As you drive down the road, what do you think you're going to start noticing every day?
A lot of those cars.
A lot of red Mercedes, or in my case, maybe a red Geo, because I don't quite have the cash flow yet. But you're going to notice those red Mercedes. That's what you're focused on. Same thing with your perfect day. There's something magical about writing it out. All of a sudden, opportunities start showing up. People come into your life that you never knew about because you're focused on that goal. Now, in the spirit of time, I'm going to jump ahead because that's the second. Create your new script. That's your exercise. I challenge you to, when you leave here today, take this and write that out. And here's the thing, sign it. It is a simple gesture, but it's like you're saying, this is what I want to do. I'm committing myself to this. And I know part of what you're going to do today is make a commitment to yourself and to this group. That C doesn't just stand for create, it stands for commit. And when you have a perfect world that you've created in your mind, isn't that easier to commit to than the world where maybe you're struggling, you're not doing what you really want to do? It's easier to commit to something that you really want. So the perfect day exercise will help you do that. Now, here's the challenge with the perfect day exercise. It's a lot to do. So what I want you to do is go to the 4th page, which is integrate into your life. All right, I know you haven't been sitting long, but I want to get the blood flowing again. Stand up, everybody, and pair up with someone. I have a question for you. And if you've seen this before, don't answer because there's a prize for the correct answer. I've got a copy, a CD version of this full-fledged workshop to the person who answers this question. What was that exercise about?
Awareness.
Awareness? Very good guess. Not right.
Spirit of observation.
Observation? No.
Change.
Who said it?
I can change.
Second time's a charm. What's your name?
Peggy.
Peggy, congratulations. Nice job. This is an exercise about change. How did you feel when I said change 12 things? Stressed.
Yeah.
I heard you. I don't have 12 things on. I didn't know it was that kind of meeting. How did you feel when I said change 2?
Relieved. Better.
I can do that. How about when I said change one more thing?
That was alright. That was easy.
Okay. If I would have said 9 more times, change one thing, you would have done it. Now what's the point? If you create this new script for your life, and you write 12 things down, there's a reason I wrote 12, by the way. You're going to look at this and say, why do most goal-setting workshops fail? It's too much. It's way too much. The way I set this program up in this process is to take your 12 items on your perfect day and pick one. As it says at the top, it takes 21 to 28 days to establish a new habit, depending on which research you read. Pick one thing on your perfect day. I want to exercise every morning at 7 a.m. Do it for 28 days. One of two things will happen. You will say, I love this, I'm going to keep doing it. Or you're going to say, I'm not interested. I'm not going to do this anymore. Either way, you've got an answer, don't you? By doing this, you either incorporate the new habit, make it part of your life, or you eliminate the what-if question. Well, what if I had started exercising 10 years ago, every day? Where would I be today? You'll know. It's a great way to write your new script. Incorporate this into your day-to-day activity, but just pick one at a time. We live in a society that wants results when? Yesterday, 2 weeks ago. And it's very challenging because I want you to think about this. If you have a child, it doesn't have to be your own, a child that you care about, and they wanted to get into some kind of business or find a way to become better at school, would you basically throw everything out to them at once and say, figure all this out now? Right now, do it. No. Or would you help them in a step-by-step fashion create the life that they want? Why do it to yourself then? We're so hard on ourselves. We're not going to build our businesses within 2 weeks. It's just not going to happen. Find what you want to do, incorporate it one piece at a time, and you will find you'll have a tremendous advantage, and you'll be heading in the direction you want to go, more than the helter-skelter method that most of us have been doing. Now there's one last piece to this shortened version of my program, and that is the in action. It stands for now. Go back 2 pages. One of my favorite quotes is from one of my speaking mentors. He's taught me how to create product in the speaking business. And by the way, if any of you do presentations for a living or want to, you do not make a lot of money in the speaking world anymore just getting checks for speaking. You have to create product. 9/11 changed the speaking business for us. And what he taught me when creating product is done is better than perfect. Because when do we release something when we're striving for perfection? Never. There's always a reason to try to make it better. One of my favorite quotes from the movie industry is from George Lucas. He said, I never got done with my movies. I just ran out of time. And I gave them the best I had. So do whatever you're going to do, and do it now. Peg's going to ask you to make commitments today. You're going to go through a transformation exercise today. Take what you've got, give it your best shot, take it to market, work with it, and then make adjustments. Rewrite your script on an ongoing basis.